Hi, this is Sunday Gardner, your online travel boss. Today, I am coming to you live on Vlogmas Day 4, and I wanted to share something a little bit personal and professional today. So we're going to talk today about my top 5 favorite books for not just travel professionals, but for entrepreneurs in general. And I'm going to talk to you about why I like those books. So give me just a second while I share, and then we're going to get started. Hopefully everybody's having a great Tuesday morning, and you've had your coffee and you are and ready to go. So give me just a second. Okay, there we go. Now I see me. It always takes a minute for Facebook to recognize it so I can share it out to the world. Now, some of these books you may have already heard of, and they may not be new to you, but they are some of my old-time favorites, and some of them are recent favorites that I just added to my library. So I'm kind of excited about sharing these with you guys. All right, and of course, my computer is moving like molasses this morning. I always feel like I should do something fun on um, on my Facebook. So I'm going to see if I can pick one of these fun items. But I'm sort of a square. Maybe I can find a thing that's a square. So hold on, my computer is still thinking about cooperating with me. I don't know, I may not be able to share today. So let's see though, in the meantime, if we can find. If you are on, please say hello so I know you're there. I think my screen is um, spinning. All right, there we go. Okay, we'll get started in just a minute. Just a couple more shares if my laptop will cooperate. All right, one more and we'll get started. So If you are joining me, please announce so I can give you a virtual um, hug. Okay, we're going to get started. All right, so today we're going to talk about something a little bit personal, a little bit behind the scenes. We're going to talk about what are my favorite books. It's the holiday season. Most of you guys are probably going to start taking some vacation time or some time off from your job, and maybe you're looking for a good book to read. I am currently reading these two books. They're not in any particular order, but they do represent my favorite books thus far. Some of them are old. I haven't read them in a while, and probably need to pick them back up. But let's go through the list. All right. So what I'm currently reading is 10X Rule by Gordon Cardone. And I love, love, love this book. I've actually pulled out so many quotes from this book and really feel like I am living my personal and business professional life by the 10X Rule. And what I love about this book is that it put on paper what I believed in my heart to be true, which is I've always been a bit of a workaholic and always been one who sort of, when I go into something, I go into it like, 10 times the effort, 100 times the effort of what I normally would get. I literally feel and would explain to myself or explain to others that I feel obsessed by the things that I do. And this book really puts in words that feeling that I've had all my life about the things that I go after. And really, the gist of the book is really about you, for you to achieve your goals and to achieve the things that you want. Most of the reasons why we fail at achieving our goals or achieving our dreams is because we underestimate the amount of time, effort, money, resources, you name it, it takes to achieve it. So if it really takes this much effort and we estimate that it's only this much effort, when we hit a roadblock or we hit some obstacle, we give up because we feel like we're putting our all because we underestimated what it really takes to get something done. And so Gordon in this book talks about you need to be obsessed by your goals. Not only should you be obsessed by your goals, you need to think of it as a moral obligation for you to achieve the success that you feel in your heart to do it. And the only way to do that is to 10x it, right? To go after it and assume that it's going to take 10 times more for you to achieve whatever it is that you set out to do, and that you can do it, right? Just you need to do more of it, right? More. If you think, if you're in sales and you feel like you want to hit a sales goal, you probably need to hit, 10 times more the number of people than you thought you need to do. You need to be willing to do more than your competitor is going to do, right? That is what defines success. So I really, really love that book. If I had to prioritize, this would probably be my number 2 book in terms of library favorites. Number 2 would be the 10X Rule. So I'm currently reading that. Second book that I'm currently reading, that I'm in process of reading, is called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And this book is really about, my coach recommended this book to our group, and it's really about this concept of when you're about to hit your next up level or your next expansion, that everybody internally has this sort of upper limit that which, I refer to them as the voices in my head, or, this thing internally that's going to prevent them from taking the next level up unless you push through this sort of concept called an upper limit. And when my coach talked to me about this book, I was, my upper limit, and I'll give you a little bit of insight. My upper limit is when I'm about to reach expansion, or let's just say I'm in the middle of a launch, the one thing that happens to me consistently is I get sick. I lose my voice, I catch a cold, I get bronchitis, I get something. And it's a protection mechanism that's in your body that says, slow down, slow down. and it's right before expansion. And really what you've got to do in this book, it really is about pushing through that upper limit so that you can get to the next level of whatever it is that you're setting out to do. And so this is a really good book for those who have the voices in their head that tell you, oh, you can't do it, or you should wait. It's not that this is not the right time, or something happens to you right in the middle of you experiencing an expansion. Great book, easy read, not complicated at all, but it really sort of explained to me in words what kind of happens to me internally with my body and my mind right at the time that I'm supposed to get to that really next level and make that big leap into whatever the next level of my life is, professionally or personally. So I'll give you an example. I remember when I started. This was back in 2007, and I was about to start this contract, making the most money I have ever made before. And I was super nervous. I had actually gotten laid off from another contract about 3 months prior. And I didn't think and I was making the most money I'd ever made before at that contract. Got laid off of that contract, and I was sort of piddling around for 3 months, got this contract, and I had to wait a couple of weeks before I started. And it was right at the beginning of the year. And I was nervous because it was the first time that I was going into a big organization as a consultant, and I was super nervous. But when I tell you, I was so sick that first 3 weeks, I'll never forget. I'm sitting in this guy's office, and I am a certified project manager by trade. My consulting work at that time was IT project management. And so I was going into this organization, and I'm sitting in this guy's office trying to introduce myself. I was hired to be this big giant program manager over this, $10 million project. And I'm sitting in this guy's office, like hacking up a lung. And, I've got all sorts of tissue trying to make sure that my snot's not going all over the place. My upper limit is sick. I get sick when I'm right about to hit some big transformation, some big leap. My body is like, nah, bruh, you need to calm down. You need to, do whatever. So I'm sitting there, my nose is running. I'm coughing up a storm. And this guy's backing up, 5 feet. He's give me 50. I know you're supposed to be some head honcho, but can you take you and your sickness out of here? But, that's just an example. I'll even give you another example of my upper limit coming through. I was just in the middle, and it was this time last year. I'm sick again this year. I think it's the same thing. But last year I was right in the middle of doing one of the biggest challenges, hosting the biggest challenges that I had ever done online. It was doing our Ready to Launch challenge last year. We had about 60 people. It was a really big launch. I was super excited. I was, testing it out. And I was sick the entire 5 days. I lost my voice. I was just experiencing all sorts of shutdown, right? So I'm coughing through every live video. It was horrible. My upper limit is sickness. And so what happens is when I'm experiencing that upper limit, I sort of slow down and I start to stop my momentum. And really, this big leap really talks about how you probably need to 10x it and then push through it and then reach whatever momentum you're supposed to reach. So great read. Really love this book. And that's The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. So love that book. Great read. Like I said, it's really easy read. It's not a very long book, but I really like that. Okay, so this third book is a book that to me changed my entire life professionally from an online entrepreneur. And it's called Key Person of Influence. And if you've been following me for greater than a year, I came back from vacation last summer just ranting and raving. I consumed this book in 5 days on vacation on a cruise last year. Or I don't even think it was last year. I think it may have been 2 years ago, because I think we went on that cruise 2 years ago. Came back from vacation, rebranded myself, came back with a new vengeance for our online business. We cut some products, we redid our vision statement, redid our brand, and really was a turning point for my business, was Key Person of Influence. And this was another recommendation from my coach. And this book is by Daniel Presley. And really, in this book, the reason why it changed me professionally and how we operate our business is because it really talks about five P's. And I'm not going to give you away because if you follow me, you know I did a whole live on this a couple of years ago. But anyway, it's about five P's as an entrepreneur or an online person that if you really want to be successful and really want to be able to sell out your products, sell out your services, and really make a difference in your particular niche, you need to position yourself as a key person of influence. This, again, is another easy read, but for travel professionals who are really trying to carve a space out for themselves, I absolutely recommend this book because it wraps up in five key principles that you need to be doing as an online entrepreneur in order to really position your business and yourself for success. Daniel Presley, Key Person of Influence, great read. Love the book. Like I said, changed my whole outlook on how we ran our business, how we branded, how we did everything in our business. Made that change about 2 years ago when I came back from vacation after reading that. So these are books that I'm giving you that for me have made a profound difference or change in my life and my outlook and the way that I operate personally. All right, these two are two old books, both by Robert Kiyosaki, but I really love this book. This Rich Dad, Poor Dad was recommended to me back in early 2000s. And it's just a really good read. And if you haven't read the book or you haven't, and this is probably, these two books, I'll probably reread these books over in December during my break. But Rich Dad, Poor Dad really is about the perspective of how you get your sort of money mindset and where that comes from. And he doesn't really talk about mindset, but he really gives you two perspectives of two different dads and the experiences that that you as a child get from those two different points of views, financial points of views from a rich dad versus a poor dad. Really great read. I'm going to be rereading that again, like I said, in December, but it really does, to me, as I recall, pinpoint our money story, right? Is your money story derived from a poor dad's mentality, and if it is, are you able to make changes that you then are able to teach your children from a rich dad's perspective? Really powerful book, really moved me. And I read this book back in the 90s. And I want to say it was the 90s or maybe early 2000s. But again, another book that I'm going to be rereading. All right. And then The Millionaire Next Door, which again, I believe that's from Kiyosaki as well. But that book just really put in perspective that anybody can be a millionaire. I do believe that some of the principles in that book are very much valid. But I believe now in 2018, with the introduction of online entrepreneurship and the accessibility that we have, the concept of being a millionaire is so much more in our reach based on the way that we position our products and services, and our ability to access people is like no other time in the history of the world, right? So whereas you may have had a millionaire next door and it's because they've invested and they've saved, you may now have a millionaire next door, right, who is an entrepreneur, online entrepreneur, superstar, and their following doesn't have to be millions of dollars to become a millionaire in the space. There's a lady I follow. She and you may know her. Her name is Supa, and she does these videos. And I just saw an article on her that she made $1 million over the Black Friday sale. She sells makeup, and it's called crayon makeup or whatever. And she sold out in like 9 or 10 minutes and made $1 million in 9 or 10 minutes because she has a following online, right? Instagram, Facebook. I don't know what all of her platforms that she's on, but she is a millionaire, by her own rights, just because she's positioned herself in the marketplace as someone to follow, and she now has a product and she's a millionaire, right? So the perspective of being a millionaire next door to me has changed. So it'd be really interesting if they update this book to include sort of the millionaire experience that is available to all of us given technology and the online space and your ability to position yourself as an expert by using these online platforms. Anyway, 5 powerful reads for you guys. If you don't have these in your library, recommend getting at least The Key Person of Influence, which is my #1 book. Really summarizes to me in a nutshell what you got to be doing if you want to be in any online business, travel business particularly. Key Person of Influence, great read. And then The Big Leap is my second book, recommendation, and 10X Rule. So those 3 books are my, top 3. And then Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Millionaire Next Door are my 4th and 5th books. So anyway, if you have any questions and you want to ask me about these reads, hit me up. If you watch this in the replay, as always, hit #replay. This is Sunday, your online travel boss, and we will talk tomorrow. Happy Vlogmas day #4. Talk soon.